Hi everyone, my name is Katie Stave and I'm a member of the STEAM Buses Club here at ECM High. Today I'm interviewing someone with a long line of experience in the STEM field. She graduated from Hendrix College with a degree major in biochemistry. After college, she then worked at L'Oréal in the quality department for 8.5 years. She then came to ECM through the teaching residency and has been teaching chemistry and biology for the past 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mrs. Maylee Bataille. So how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. So, when did you know that this career was the best option for you?
So are we talking the biochem field?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so actually it was my freshman year in college. My freshman year in college, I was actually a philosophy major, but I was taking chemistry, and at some point my chemistry professor asked me to come to her office hours. And I did, and she sat me down and she said to me, not a lot of people are really good at this, and you're really good at this, so you should consider going into a STEM major instead of a philosophy major. So she basically gave me the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech. And so yeah, my sophomore year I changed to chemistry, and then as I took some more science classes at college, I found that I really understood chemistry more in a biological context, so then I switched to biochemistry the next year. Yep.
So what type of training or experience did you need for this occupation?
Really the degree from Hendrix in biochemistry is what got me the job at L'Oréal. It was an entry-level job when I first got it. So I started out as a chemist there in one of their in their powders lab, and so in order to get into that, all I really needed was my degree in biochemistry, and I had a recommendation from one of the professors at Hendrix to go there, and I had a friend who I had taken classes with at Hendrix who already worked there as well. So really my degree from Hendrix is what enabled me to break into the field.
So tell me about your experience at L'Oréal.
L'Oréal is a great company. It was an amazing company to work for, honestly. They are very good about wanting to be an environmentally friendly company. They're good about promoting people who have skills within, which is why I was able to actually move up and move around while I was in there. I worked in the chemistry lab, I worked in the microbiology lab, and then I actually ended up as the hygienist position, which is more of a chemical engineering position, just because they are really good about looking at internal talent and promoting people within. So yeah, it was good.
So how did you find ECM?
So even though the job at L'Oréal was really good, it was a really good job, it ticked all the boxes. I had a great salary, I had great benefits, I had great opportunities to move up. There was something within me as just a person that was still unfulfilled. And so I had a friend who had done the residency program the year before and was telling me, hey, they're looking for residents, and would you consider teaching? And honestly, until she asked me, I probably would have said no. But then she asked me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give it a try. Because yeah, I was ready to find a different career field. Still in science because I love science, but something that gave back more and was more fulfilling. Yeah.
What is your favorite part about your job?
Which job?
Your job is a chemistry and biology teacher here at ECM.
Working with the students. Yeah, working with students is the best part for sure. Yeah.
And what would you say is most challenging?
Juggling it all. There's so much, I don't know if y'all know, but there's so much that teachers do, and just keeping it all in the air. Yeah.
So what is a motivation that you use to push through?
Again, my students. I love my students. I really do. They're the reason that I do this. So just, those moments where I can work with a student and they get something and they really get it and they feel empowered because now they've got that thing, or they feel really good about themselves or they feel really smart. Like, that's what gets me through. Yeah.
So what have you learned over time about this occupation?
It's hard. It's just really hard. But it also gives back, right? It gives back, so that's good. Yeah.
So since most STEM fields are like male dominated, how did that reflect your overall career?
So I did see that quite a bit at college, right? In a lot of my STEM classes, there were a lot of guys, but there were also a lot of girls. At L'Oréal, actually most of the people who worked in the labs at L'Oréal were women. There were a couple men in there as well, but I think L'Oréal, because it's a beauty company, it attracts people with talent from both, from both genders. So I did see a lot more females at L'Oréal in the labs and such. And then here, until this year, last year I was the only female teacher in the science department, but the year before we had Miss Donahue, so it was a little more evened out. And this year we have Miss Emery, so it's a little more evened out as well. Yeah.
What advice would you give young girls that want to join the STEM field?
Work hard, be persistent, be consistent if you can. And just if you are in a situation where it's male dominated, just make sure that you still take your place. And if you're doing an activity, make sure you get your hands in there and you're doing the activity too, right?
So what tips would you give anyone that is inspired or would like to become a biochemist?
Again, just be persistent, be consistent, work hard, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because honestly that can hold you back. Fear of failure and fear of making mistakes is not something that you need to cling to when you go into science, because all good science happened because somebody made a mistake or just fell down and got back up and tried again and failed at something and tried it a different way, right? So make sure that if you do have failures, you don't let those define you. You learn from them and then just keep moving forward. Yeah.
So if you can meet anyone in the world, who would it be?
I don't know. The Dalai Lama? The Dalai Lama or Pink. I really like Pink. You guys know who Pink is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's amazing. Probably Pink or the Dalai Lama. I know those are two separate things on a spectrum.
And if you could live anywhere, where would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I've been to Germany many times and I really like Germany. I would live there. They're very scientifically minded there. I'd also like to check out Canada, but I've never actually been there, so I don't know if I'd like to live there or not. Yeah.
So I have a bit of a scientific yet opinionated question for you, and that is, do you believe water is wet? Why or why not?
Okay, so the best argument I've heard concludes that yes, water is in fact wet. If you define wetness as the amount of water something has, right? So if you say when something is a little bit wet, it's moist, right? And it's because it has just like a couple specks of water on it. So it's what, like 2% water. If something is quite wet or pretty wet, right, it's got more water on it, and so it's maybe 25% water. If it's soaking wet, right, it's got lots of water on it, so it's like 75% water. Well, water is 100% water. So yeah, water is wet. I'd say water is wet.
With that concludes, and I want to thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you. It's been great.
Thank you.